there, but
Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
live now. Let me refresh this other one and just look at it. So what's up? Yeah, it does say live. So, yep, I am live. All right, we're here. We are here. It worked. So go over to YouTube. I'm going to shut down the IG, even though this would be a fun little side view. You can watch me talk to the other camera that's up here. But yeah, headed over to YouTube. So go over to Donut Shop Podcast YouTube. See you guys. Bye. All right. Here I am. So I'm over here on YouTube trying out a new thing. Welcome to the Donut Shop. Coffee and donuts today. No donuts, but I got coffee. Thanks for coming over nice and early in the morning, checking things out. Yes, Will, it did work. Thank you. So thanks for coming over and checking things out on the little live stream that I'm trying to do on Sunday mornings. Sub Sunday was an old thing that I used to do with Nick before we would record on Sundays. And live streams are cool, impromptu, kind of non-scripted. My wife Lupe is telling me, maybe do like a breakdown or give my opinion about a call. Yes, it is maybe important to give my opinion on calls and stuff, and it might be different than what you see some of our friends in counterculture doing and stuff. But I figure for right now, I'd start out with just kind of talking about some of the things that I did this week as far as the channel goes and how that is. Good morning, Liz. Good morning from the Worms, and good morning to you guys up in Tennessee. So since the Worms are in the chat and talking, Counterculture has a live event coming up in Miami, August 16th. At Unseen Creatures Brewery. It's a good spot. I've been there before. They have some good beers, and they're letting a counterculture take over. So I know Copville is going to be there. Mike from Copville is going to be there. Tyler from Anti-Hero Podcast is going to be there. I'm going to be there. Then we got the Worms are coming. Jerry's coming down. Liz is coming down. So Jerry's going to be there. The OG Street Goon, as everybody knows him. So Jerry's going to be there. I believe Taylor Kavanaugh and Jimmy Watson are going to be there too. So they're coming. So it's gonna be a good time. They have their own show other than Honorable Podcast on the Counterculture Network. So those people, and then there's probably going to be more. And so we got a bunch of people from the local area coming out to check it out and stuff. So it's going to be cool. Kind of like our one in Jersey City that we did back in April. Will says, is Shell Shock happening? I haven't heard anything about Shell Shock. I know that Tyler wanted to do Shell Shock again and just say fuck it and keep the same name and run with Shell Shock. But it may just be one of these things like that. I'm making the excuse already for him if it doesn't happen. That it just so much going on with the network, with new shows and these live events that maybe Shell Shock doesn't happen. But I'm hoping it does, because I had a blast hanging out with you, Will, and doing photography together. And even though the bands were our second choice bands, they were still pretty badass. So Kevin, Jerry says Kevin Peach from Guys on the Ground said he's coming. Oh, awesome. All right, Kevin. It'd be good to, I don't think Kevin didn't come to the Jersey City one. So, so it'll be cool to meet Kevin. So there you go. Another counterculture show that's going to be at the live stream. Kevin will be there. So Guys on the Ground, check them out. Jerry was just on Guys on the Ground. Another good interview. Jerry's always an entertaining interview. So you're going to be helping out everybody in the network. So it was cool. Yeah, it was a freaking blast. Shell Shock was a cool weekend. I got a little tattoo while I was at Shell Shock. Yep. First dude tattoos in Maitland. Josh, what's up, bro? So he did my smile tattoo. So I was up there doing a photography gig. So I figured I might as well get a photography related tattoo. Take a picture, smile. So So I've always wanted it and figured it was a good time to support somebody who supported the event, which was Josh from First Do Tattoos. He's a firefighter and a tattoo artist. All right. So Friday, I had been invited to do or to attend. It was an event and it was awesome. It was at it was a gun store, coffee shop, cigar store. So it was guns, cigars, and coffee. But it was um, a federal law enforcement group that kind of assists. Like it's like a trust. It assists federal law enforcement officers in times of need and stuff. They give them grants or help them out if they have like family troubles or something, or if a child's sick or something like that, or if the federal agent gets injured in the line of duty or something. They help them out, and it was cool. So Robert Lederger, that I've had on the show, former U.S. Marshal, he invited me to it. And it was not far from my house. People traveled from all over to be there, but it wasn't far from my house. But he said, "Hey, this would be a good opportunity for you to talk to some people and network and maybe find some interesting stories in the group that's in attendance there." And it was a mixed group. That was about 50% like law enforcement, and then 50% like business owners and supporters of law enforcement. So it was cool. So I talked to a whole bunch of people, gave out a bunch of business cards and made some interesting connections. Like the president of it is a former ATF agent, so he's going to have some stories, some interesting stuff about ATF, and then they'll probably come on the show and talk about the foundation and what they do to help people out. In the industry if they need help or assistance. So, it was a cool event. And then of course I learned about a gun company out of Venice, Florida. Pretty freaking cool. Fusion Firearms. And they make like a 2011 firearm that takes a Glock mag. I hope talking about these guns aren't going to cause my live stream to crash, but it's a pretty cool looking gun. It might be like a retirement gift for me that I might do for myself. It seems pretty cool. So check him out. So I was talking to a rep. No, he's not a rep. He's he has a firearms dealer, and he deals a lot primarily in that with that company, and then they're a Florida company. So Robert, the marshal that I know and I was talking to, he said that he knows the owner of the company, and he's like, maybe you can do a podcast there. So everybody's trying to give me podcasts, and I appreciate it. So it was cool. So I talked to the dealer, about it, and he was explaining some stuff. He said basically like they line it up next to Staccato, as far as looks and function. And he gave one to a SWAT team that he's told the SWAT team, look, just throw range ammo. And those of you that go on the range know that range ammo is probably some of the dirtiest for your pistol. And they've shot like 1,600 rounds through it with no malfunctions on the range, and they just like leave it there. They're not cleaning it. They're not doing anything to it. They're just putting it there on the range, and they just say, all right, grab a box and fire some rounds through it and try to see if it'll malfunction, by means of being dirty or by means of that, like obviously if you have a limp wrist or something, or you do something wrong, you might have a misfeed or a stovepipe or something like that. But it's pretty cool. So Will's okay with his Glock. He enjoys Staccato, So I'm saying like, for a pretty or a bougie gun or something like that, yeah, Glocks get the job done. Somebody was at this meeting was explaining to me, like Glocks are a tool, whereas like this gun's like a hammer or something. I'm going to screw up that quote, but it is I did a terrible job. I'll edit this out, maybe, probably not. So what's up? You guys got any questions? Anything you want me to talk about? Otherwise, I'll get into the next story. Yesterday, I interviewed Howard Mergler. So I got to remember it because his name's kind of like burglar. So I interviewed a guy named Howard Mergler. He is he's a sergeant in the state of Virginia. Agencies can't be named, kind of like mine, but he he was a cool interview because I kind of have a little bit of knowledge about it, because in my city we have a large mall, and we deal in things like organized retail theft. And so organized retail theft isn't necessarily like just your average shoplifter that's going to walk in and, take a box of beer or something like that, or steal something, you know, some clothes, a couple t-shirts and a pair of jeans and like walk out of the store. Like organized retail theft is like theft with a purpose. It benefits like an ulterior motive, like the cartels, or a criminal street gang or something like that. And so they organize, and then you've got other things like in my city we've had groups of gypsies come into the mall, and they just kind of like, they're so good at what they do that they distract, they steal things, and then all of a sudden you like look back and the wall's empty, and you're like, I didn't even see anybody doing anything, and so there's that organized retail theft, and then there's other stuff like sleight of hand at cash registers, where they get cashiers going with cash and change it. Oh, can I get change for this? And oh, by the way, while you're in there, can you change this and this and this? So it's an interesting interview, and he's also going to be one of the training instructors at our boy Kenny Williams training conference in Myrtle Beach in April, the Justice Academy X training. So there's going to be a lot of training officers there, people that can train in the field of law enforcement that can help out your career, and it's really cost effective. So look that up, the Justice Academy X training in Myrtle Beach in April 2026. So we'll be there. Counterculture will be there, and we're going to be doing a live podcast meetup, events, that kind of stuff during the week while we're there for the training event. And at that point, I will be retired, so I'll be able to do what I want, all right, yeah. So Will got a really nice bolt gun. Okay, so like a rifle. And then Jerry says, it seems there are a lot of agencies pushing hiring videos. Yeah, I mean, agencies have been doing hiring videos a lot, pretty much for a while. It's one of those things where, especially if you could do it in house and film something yourself, you're not paying money to be at a career fair. You're speaking to your audience, that if you have some followers. So like there's a lot of things about social media that I guess I can talk about that from my experience and side of expertise with social media. One of the ways to get people to follow you at the beginning, like especially when you're starting out, is to do some outlandish stuff. So that's kind of where the dancing TikTok style videos started, but with agency videos, because they know that they're going to get people to follow or get people to see their videos if they're a brand new channel starting out. And so they'd push out some of these silly videos or kind of joke videos, because it gets shared. People just share. Look at what this agency is doing. Look what this agency is doing, and they're sharing it. And then along that line, you pick up followers, and some of those followers may not be from your actual community, which is another purpose of it. Is you really want your community to grab hold, because then your law enforcement social media is able to put out important information like emergencies or crime prevention, or just general announcements about events that are coming up. So that's kind of where the silly videos started. But then now you've got officers on their own creating silly videos because they want to do the same thing. They want to get followers and stuff. And that's probably associated with creating money, generating wealth, because I don't necessarily see, at least what our boy Mike from Copville shows, these officers providing, uh, safety information, crime prevention information. That was always my thing when I was in charge of our social media, is we might create something that's slightly silly, not too off the wall or overboard, but there was a message behind it and a reason for somebody to watch it and go, oh, I get it. Like, and then so that maybe something would click, like lock the freaking doors of your car when you go to bed at night, so that you don't have stuff stolen out of it, because guys just walk down the street and pull on door handles and go into your car and rifle through it. Don't leave your gun in your car overnight, because those same guys that are pulling on doors are going to find a gun, and now you just arm somebody, and God knows what's going to happen with that gun. So let's go to the comments. Will says everywhere in Minnesota is down in hiring. For my knowledge, Minnesota and St. Paul are two of the agencies that are pushing hiring online. One of the suburbs put out videos about law stuff happening in the town. Most is just safety and crime prevention. Yeah, I mean, so that was always my thing, and then it part of my purpose. So like, I was a bit of a social media personality on my department's social media, but then I was also involved with Nick off duty from Nick Perez from Miami. So I was on his stuff a bunch. So yeah, there's been guys and girls that have come through our agency and like the hiring process or ride-alongs, because we do ride-alongs during our hiring process just to make sure that people understand what the job really looks like, not from what they see on social media or on TV. And they've been like, oh yeah, I've seen you either on Donut Shop podcast or on Nick's videos or whatever. So it creates a bit of a buzz around some of the people in your agency. And I'm not trying to be famous through that, but it's a good way to use recruiting and express the message, and kind of push the agency message. But yeah, to Will's point, I mean, everybody's down because, I don't know, like, here's where I'm going to give opinions. You've got the pandemic that happened that showed a lot of people that weren't in the field or weren't in the career, hey, there's opportunities to make money either through online or social media, or people kind of made it work. Some people made it work outside of going to a normal job, that a 9 to 5 or somewhere you had to clock in. People figured out how to make money, hopefully legally, but figured out how to make money. Maybe OnlyFans. But then that's pulling away from some of your candidate pool. Then you've got other things that, unfortunately, probably stuff like us bringing up problems in the field, not making it look completely, Captain America, shining star, you're out there, everybody loves you, kind of stuff. So I think that's probably shying some people away. And then you're going to have the generational styles of people that, you're just your general Americanism, probably, like pride in the country, pride in, what America stands for. And so, or pride in your community. So people may not want to jump right out and get involved in that, and be that. So I think there's a lot of negativity that is swirled around law enforcement or the job. And because of social media and the access to information, it's out there a lot more. And so some of the reasons why there's more officers, retiring and leaving, some leaving early, some like myself that are like, I could work longer, but I can also I can leave at 20 and collect a pension the next day. So, that is, something that I'm looking forward to. But there's things that if the job was perfect, I'd probably stick around, but I don't necessarily have to. And, I've got other things that I want to do, and you should be allowed to do that. We shouldn't feel like we have to stay or have to stick to it. But there has to be people to, pick up the mantle, people to pick up the job. And they may not be the same. So I said Captain America, Captain America leaves at the end of Endgame, and Falcon picks up, and it's not the same. It's not going to be the same. We're all going to say that sort of thing if we want to dive into comic stuff, but it's not going to be the same. But somebody's got to do the job, and so you're not always going to have the same person filling the shoes. But I think knowledge is important. It's important to pass the knowledge down to future police officers that are coming into the job, so that they learn how to do it. They learn how to do it safely, and they learn how to do it right. And I think a lot of us are trying to do that, especially those of us still on the job. And then like our friends in counterculture, they're trying to get them to think about things. Mike, I keep talking about Mike, but he loves to throw people under the bus with some of these photos that get put online with magazines that are facing weird directions and stuff. And the thing is argue it back. If you put your magazines on that way and you can explain like how you can grab those mags, and that's the thing is you got to think like, all right, if my strong arm gets hit in a gunfight, like how am I grabbing those mags? Or if my support arm gets hit in a gunfight, how am I grabbing those mags? Like if you don't have the use of both arms equally, like you train or like you shoot on the range every year when you requalify, then you may have to figure out a better way to put those mags. I put them, I wear them a weird way that Mike's made fun of before. Like I have them in front of my holster, and they're sideways, and they kind of face towards my what would be my belt buckle or my zipper. But I'm able to pull from my strong hand, which is right side, and I'm able to pull from my support hand, which is my left side. So it's something that I don't know, probably a training officer taught me a long time ago, and it was a method of thinking, and I'm practiced up in it, and I can do it. And we run drills where we're like, all right, your support hand's down, put your tourniquet on. It's now unusable, so go for it. All right, your strong hand's down, tourniquet on it, and return fire now with your support hand. So we've done drills. I've practiced it, and I know that my placement, my setup, it works. So if you're not doing that, then you're wrong, because you could end up in that type of a situation, and you're not able to get to it. So yeah, I kind of went off on a little tangent, but yeah. So that's kind of what's going on, and to wrap up Jerry's point, it's cheap to make social media videos. I mean, unless you're paying an agency or a filmmaker to make your recruiting or hiring videos, but it's real easy for somebody just like this to take a camera, microphone, stand in front of your police department and just say, hey, look, we're hiring. And the same graphic that you created for a flyer or to give to a job fair to announce your presence, you put that on your social media with somebody, speaking a little bit, and there's a hiring video, or you can go as far as, creation of a giant show and tell of your SWAT team. But all it takes is whoever maybe your social media manager is, or your PIO with a camera, to go film some shots of your SWAT team, because everybody loves to watch SWAT teams move through a building and stuff. So film a little bit of that, film a little bit of your motorcycle guys zipping around the cones and doing some work, film some officers interacting in the community, slap all that together and put it out on social media and say, hey, we're hiring, you want to do this? So it's not hard. It's just some of us that used to do the job would kind of compete with each other on how cinematic we can make the video look, or how, because of course people in the comments are going to talk trash and be like, hey, this agency did it better, this agency did it better. But the biggest thing is trying to create pride within the department, to push the message and get people hired, because nobody likes working when we're down officers and we have empty zones and we're humping calls in other zones. And at least in my agency, we're big on zone integrity. So, it's not exciting when we have to run over into somebody's zone or into an empty zone and handle that. We've got our own problems in our zone that we want to address, not the problems in your zone. And then that's just an agency mentality with patrol officers. Some agencies just, their patrol officers have different mentality and they want to run around and handle calls in everybody's zone. So, and I appreciate you new guys for doing that. But it's we got to get people hired. We got to get people, in the job. We got to fill the shoes of the guys and girls that are leaving the career, either through retirement or just, The job's worn them out and it's time to go. So, yeah. So Jerry says counterculture is also pushing agencies to have accountability, which is true. Mental health for officers, better training, and having IA do honest investigations, which is a difficult thing to do. Because when you've got these people in power that gained power. I was a Game of Thrones watcher and Game of Thrones fan, and I've said it, when you elevate people sometimes to these positions, they don't necessarily they're not necessarily qualified for that position. They were just wanted to take it, or had aspirations, or wanted to keep their friends protected. And so it sometimes is counter to what we need. Good leaders in these police departments, to kind of stand up to these politicals and the people that are outside of the job, that don't understand exactly how the dynamic is inside the department, and that kind of stuff. So, and then mental health for officers. I read a quote one day, and I need to like keep it and frame it. But it basically said that mental health, agencies that have mental. Oh man, I feel like JoJo might have posted it. Mike's wife, but it just said something like that. That mental health just isn't creating a mental health program isn't just something you do. It's like a culture that you have to create within the police department. It's not just like a box that you check, like, oh, we created mental health counselors and we got some officers trained in it. But it's like, if they're not out there actively doing the job, or paying attention and talking to people about it, and then the agency creating a culture to where officers feel valued, or feel like seen and recognized. And not to make us all sound like softies that we need all these things, but if we feel like we're constantly under attack from the outside and then from the inside, it's not going to breed good mental health throughout. And we've done a lot of recognizing of mental health stuff throughout the last few years in law enforcement. It definitely needs some work. It needs some work. Don't just create it and put it in policy and procedure and pretend like that's all you need to do. There's definitely more to it. But yeah, in training is always a huge thing. And I don't sit upstairs in the conversations. So I don't know exactly what what it takes. But the problem is with these manpower issues, and they're always they I don't know. I'm at a loss sometimes for training, because I agree that some of the conversations that have been had, that officers need to train outside the department, but then sometimes departments get upset when they hear that officers are training outside the department. I feel like they were talking bad because they saw and one of our officers on BJJ Cop's social media that he was training, and it's like, yo, like, he's not getting that training in our department, so let him put himself through another thing. If he gets hurt, that's on him. Get it? Like, that's his thing, like. But he's trying to do better by himself, like. You can't talk trash about the officers that go to BJJ, studios or dojos or whatever they're called, and train and roll and get the tactics, like, just get regular Brazilian jiu-jitsu tactics, maybe not based around law enforcement, but they're going out there and they're getting it done, and they're learning stuff that they'll be able to utilize within their career. The same thing goes, like I mentioned early in this live stream, about like Kenny's training course, the Justice Academy X training course that's going to be in Myrtle Beach in April. Keep plugging it for him. Not a paid sponsorship, but it's going to be cost effective, because some of these training conferences are $600, $700 a pop to go to it, plus the travel and the hotel stay and all that. This one, I believe, is going to be $99 for the conference, and you can attend whatever classes you find that you're going to get something out of. So $99 is unheard of. So that's something that an officer, if they can travel to it and take care of the travel themselves, it's just another $100 to receive the training. So it's an insane value, in my opinion. That, I'll probably audit some classes to go back to my old college days, go in and sit in some of them and just do them, and check them out. Jerry, officers have to feel safe coming forward, not being ridiculed to talk about their issues. Oh yeah, for sure. Like when it comes to mental health, it's important that if something's beating you up, or something's dragging you down, or because we do that. We work with some of our zone partners and squad mates, and we see them on a day-to-day basis. Every day we see how they interact with people in the public, people on calls. We know how they act on hot calls. We know how they act on benign calls. And so when you see them sometimes starting to act differently, they need a word. They talk to him, sit him down at lunch, sit over some coffee, find out what the hell's going on. Is it they feel sick, like physically sick, or they feel mentally sick? Something's going on. And I know I could have used that for sure in the last role that I was in. But everybody came to me and asked me for help with their work, and hey, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this for me. And they would come to me with their bitches and moans and complaints about other people that we work with and stuff. But nobody was really seeing that I had my own, and I was lashing out on my own. And people just kind of took that as like, oh yeah, he's just being sarcastic, or he's just being, nobody actually said like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, what's going on, to help me work through that. And I ended up probably getting myself in more trouble than I needed to, and got kicked back to the road. But, and that's just me owning up to some of it, but, trying to put a little bit of blame on some other people too. And, so it's just basically saying that, just keep an eye on people, and if somebody's seems like they got something going on, like, don't be afraid to talk to them. And then same thing, like, don't be afraid to talk, because if you end up and you shouldn't get punished for talking about it. There shouldn't be retribution, like, unless you're doing something that's like a violation of policy, or gonna hurt somebody. Like, it's don't go after somebody just because they're upset at one of your friends. Like, you're sitting there listening to it, and they're upset at one of your friends for probably some crap that you let them keep doing too. I don't know. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. So because I'm just going to ramble on about it and probably say something stupid. But yeah, so I got that episode coming out Tuesday morning. YouTube, it'll drop at 7 Eastern, and then iTunes and Spotify, I usually schedule it for like 4 or 5 in the morning for my friends over there in Europe that like to listen early. So they've got a couple hour time difference. And so I just kick it off over there. I'm tossing around the idea of adding my videos to Spotify, so that you can watch. I did it before with Donut Shop Podcast years ago, and the video episodes were on Spotify, so you could watch the videos as well. But I had done a poll a few times, and people on Spotify were like, no, we just listen to it. We don't need to watch the videos. But I see comments on some of our other podcasts in Counterculture, because I'm an admin on the Spotify site. So I see everybody's comments that come in, and some of them are asking for videos on some of the other podcasts. So, but I think it's kind of like Anti-Hero, because they show videos sometimes. And so people are like, oh, if I'm listening on Spotify, I'd love to be able to just click the video portion and like look at the video. But it is what it is. It is. You're not going to please everybody. So we got to stop trying to please everybody. Probably one of my bigger problems. Yeah. So any other comments. So this one went pretty well. I was sitting here yapping on for a while. There's a little. I forgot to put this little prompt up when I talk about it. Counterculture Live Miami, August 16th, 6 p.m. to midnight. Unseen Creatures Brewery. I think I had a sour there. It was pretty dope. I think that was the only beer. I went after I did a photography gig down in Miami, and I was like, let's try to find a brewery in the area. And this one was pretty local, and I hit that one up. So I'm gonna toss the invite out to a few other people, that I know would totally be down with it, and looking forward to that. Let's see. Don't forget to go to donutshoppodcast.com I put everything through that website, all that kind of stuff. Oh, we got comments. I got comments. Have I ever had a PB&J beer? I think Funky Buddha in Oakland Park here has made a PB&J beer, and it was good. So I've had a PB&J beer. I don't know if it was just jelly. Yeah, it's peanut butter and jelly. So yeah, Funky Buddha. And I think that's like a seasonal thing that they come out with in like the fall. It's pretty good. You've had one made by Zool, like Zool from Ghostbusters. Thanks, Will. This was a fun one. I had some stuff to talk about. That's what I'm just gonna try and make like a little sheet for me with some topics or things to talk about. If not my own experiences throughout the week, maybe a call that I went on at work or something like that. Will a PB&J sour? Like a thick sour, so very lactosey. For those of you that don't know beer, I don't know beer real well, but I know with sours, sometimes they use like a lactose. It's not like milk, but it does sometimes make sours more thick. And I'm not a huge fan of. I'm just like I love sours because I can just drink them, and they're it's like drinking a soda or a Sprite or something like that. But I can drink sours all day, and they do pretty good, and they feel less filling to me, and that's one of my complaints about beer is that I end up getting full, which is not going to be cool when I go to Oktoberfest in Germany this September. I need to start practicing my beer drinking, even though I know German beer is a little different. But I'm a little nervous about my beer intake to having to pee ratios. What's up, Anthony? Welcome to the live stream. Zool is a brewery here in Knoxville. So yeah, when I come to visit Knoxville, I'll have to drink it. Do they have any Ghostbusters references in that place? I have to pull it up on on the internet. Zool. There we go. Zool beer. Zool beer. Yes, I am 21. Oh, it looks like a nice place. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have. They got a spooky thing going on for them, but they definitely don't. Nothing with Ghostbusters. But hey, whatever. I dig it. I'm down. Yes, it keeps asking me if I'm 21. Everywhere I go, like all their pages. Are you 21? Are you 20? Oh, it says PB&J mixtape is a shirt. That's a pretty dope shirt. And there's a nice wolf shirt. Oh, they got some sweet shirts. Oh, they got a flamingo. Oh man, Tyler's gonna love this place. They got all kinds of shirts like Counterculture Inc. threads, stuff like that. So we'll have to check it out in Knoxville when we do a live event there in Knoxville. Maybe we'll do it there. Maybe those guys will be down with it. Work on that, Jerry. Or Liz, she's the boss. I like lactose in the sours because it makes it feel like you're drinking a smoothie. But that one was too thick. So yeah, it's definitely, I see where you're going with the smoothie thing. It definitely is kind of like that. See, Liz, you are the boss, right? It's the lactose, just, it makes it a little thick. Like I like a nice, like you can see through it, sour. Always, some of my first sours were probably like guava because it's like down in South Florida and Miami. Seemed like they were really pushing, the Miami area was really pushing the sours with a lot of different breweries down here. And so they, it was always like a guava or a passion fruit, kind of very fruity. And I mean, it's probably part of the making it is to be able to use fruit. You're probably not going to have well, I mean, I guess you have a PB&J sour. So, PB&J sour, look forward to checking that out. Seafoam ooze. Yeah, they got, man, that's too many cool shirts. They got a lot of cool, they're expensive, but too many cool shirts. I did see a thing that they were saying, some fashion people were saying tank tops are back. Tank tops are the thing. It might be because of summer, but tank tops are back and good to go. So Tyler brought back tank tops apparently, and it's good to go. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm getting ready. I got to go to the gym in 45 minutes. I'm gonna hit some F45 and get the day started. It's a day of grocery shopping and preparing for the week, finishing the laundry and doing all that kind of stuff. Oh, I haven't even been sipping my coffee. This is supposed to be coffee and donuts, and I'm barely drinking my coffee. Coffee from Blackout Coffee Company, DSP10. Get you 10% off. It's good coffee. I've been drinking it for a long time. I order the 5-pound bags of coffee. That way I don't have to order it very often. Get it from them. So, all right. If nothing more, we have hit 40 minutes on this one. So that was good. So next week Sunday morning, I'll try to see if I can, I'll do, something different. I'll try and see if I got a topic. Obviously have a conference. Oh, actually next weekend, let's check the schedule. I'm a recording. It's a little bit behind the curtains here, guys. I got 3. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that now. I've got 3 episodes that I'm recording. I'm recording Friday with a guy named Rob Kelly. It's mental health based, addiction and mental health based. So that one will be interesting. And then Parlor Donuts on Saturday. That one is going to be in their donut shop. So Parlor Donuts in Fort Lauderdale, pretty awesome. They're called Flaky Layer Donuts, Cronuts, but that's patented or copywritten or whatever. They're not allowed to say that. But Flaky Layer Donuts, they're freaking awesome. I've posted them on my Instagram. So they're and it's very Americana in their lobby. The owner bought a 46 star American flag. It's huge and it hangs in there, and it's like it's a 46 star American flag that's from that time. It was before, he said, before Utah even became a state. So pretty freaking cool. So I'll do a little probably video tour for the Instagram and social media, and then set up the Donut Shop podcast in their donut shop and do a donut shop podcast with the owner or owners. I don't know if his wife wants to talk or not. She's the brains behind the operation, of course. And then Sunday I have another guest from the Justice Academy X training conference named Dakota Cook. Kenny just shot me a whole bunch of his trainers that are coming out there, or officers that are doing the training. They're not his, but he sent a bunch of them to me to do interviews because of their expertise in their various fields and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing a video one kind of like this with Dakota Cook. I'll figure out what the topic is beforehand and do some research, of course. So that's next week is an action-packed week full of events or full of podcasts, and then there's also Saturday. There's the Bleeding Blue Incorporated. I did a podcast with them. They're a South Florida group that also assists officers. They have a mental health conference. It's this Saturday at Miami-Dade College North on the 19th. It's all day. So that's always a good event. So I'm going to see if I can get out there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because Parlor Donuts was able to book, and that was kind of important for me to get out there to Parlor Donuts and do a thing. So yeah, so that's this week. Don't forget the Other Than Honorable podcast dropping on Tuesday morning, as well as my podcast dropping on Tuesday morning. So plenty of stuff for you to listen to on Tuesday and throughout the week with our other friends from Counterculture. And don't forget the Counterculture Live event, August 16th, 6 to 12. So Jerry says it's delicious. Oh, yeah. Jerry, the Worms family will be boating today. Shouldn't you guys already be out on the boat? It's early. It's time to be out on the boat, bro. Yeah, get out on the boat. So some nice freshwater boating. You're not as sticky as those of us in South Florida that boat in the salt water. But enjoy the boat, man. So everybody have a good Sunday and enjoy. Thanks for checking out Coffee and Donuts. So we'll wrap it up. See you guys next Sunday. Again, thanks for tuning in. So, all right. Later.
Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.